think I have the music playing. Yep, pretty much. I just need some background noise. And it's awkward if like the stream is just silent, so. This is the Lush Lo-Fi playlist on Spotify. I actually like this card right here, the Dusk Stalker Vera. I think it's very well put together. I am using adblock on Hearth cards. I don't use adblock on Hearth cards on my like normal browser. This is just the stream browser. Sometimes ads are like location specific, so yeah, that's why. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I have an idea for a card. Replace your minions' death rattles with resummon this. So this only affects minions on board. So it would turn Leper Gnome into death rattle summon a Leper Gnome, basically. I was gonna say, this is not the Lush Lo-Fi. I had songs queued up, so it's playing something from a different artist. Okay. I think the card could be worded more, like, concisely or clearly. So probably replace death rattles on minions you control. So this obviously only affects the minions you currently control. That's probably a bit better. What's up, Mr. Bostonator? You just noticed the secret, and... Oh, hi. Hello. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's cool. I think this is an epic card for sure. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you can post it if you want. That'd be cool to see. I still have this lingering feeling that this card is like improperly worded. or broken or something. I'm not sure what the exact... Okay, the period should be in there. Replace death rattles on minions you control with... I mean, I think this is fairly clear. This could be a legendary effect. I think it probably should be, because if you're creating like such a death rattle heavy deck, you're not going to have 2 Battlecry minions in your deck. That's not like a ton, but it is a pretty like complex effect, so yeah, low costed for sure. Oh my gosh, this font size, it's killing me. Oh, okay, looks like we're doing 4 lines. This is not going anywhere. Okay, yeah, we're doing 4 lines. Alright, is there any better way I can space this? Probably not. What did Dreadsteed used to say, actually? Dreadsteed, what was its previous text? It was Death Rattle, summon a Dreadsteed. Is this clear enough that this is like... It summons in a way that's similar to Dreadsteed. It doesn't like copy enchantments. Is that implied? I think it's definitely implied because like all the resurrect cards in the game don't copy buffs. Also, I don't think the word resummon... Oh no, resummon is most definitely used. Okay, I don't know why I thought that. Okay, yeah, in recurring villain uses resummon it. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. Alright, I think 2 mana is probably appropriate. Probably like 2 mana 3/1 or 2 mana 1/3. Probably don't want to give it... Yeah, go ahead, just post the link in chat. Probably don't want to make it full statted just because I think that it feels weird to... Like, for a new player to come into the game and, like, unpack this card, they would be confused. They would be like... They would think that the card is, like, not powerful because it's fully statted. It sounds weird, but... So I think 2 mana 1/3 is fine because it's... The deck is probably going to be a slower deck, a more Death Rattle focused deck that focuses on resummons. I mean, I guess it could be aggro. You can post it in this chat or the voice text chat in Discord. Either one's totally fine. And I'll move my mic closer, and I also tend to mumble a lot, so... As for flavor... Is there any Warcraft characters that this fits well to? Oh wow, after an opposing hero power is used, counter it and put 2 copies of it into your hand as 0 mana spells. So yeah, it is like literally the exact same card, but a mage secret that adds 2 copies. Yeah, that's funny. Probably have some good art. We can just go with a custom OC character because I mean, I guess there's like a couple obvious WoW characters. I could go for, yeah. There's this art, pretty good art. This one's pretty good. We'll probably go with this. There's like skulls on his thing. So I thought about that. The mini KT art. Oh, Blurb, you always come in and say the most perfect stuff. Okay, I think we'll use the mini KT art. That is this is a very appropriate usage of this art. I'm not sure, Mr. Bostonator. I don't think so. Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think so, and I kind of intended for it not to. That's part of the reason I chose to resummon this wording instead of summon a copy of this. It would have to be play tested. I don't think there's any cards which are like super broken with it, but okay. And this art is by, I think, Gabor Six Guy. Definitely did not pronounce that correctly, but yeah. And apparently this is Lil KT is the official Warcraft name of this. He's a pet in World of Warcraft, so I don't know why I didn't realize this until now, but like Snip Snap is basically a neutral Savannah High main. Like, I knew that Snip Snap was strong because of the combos, but like you just play 2 Snip Snaps on themselves and you have a 6-mana 4/6 with Death Rattle summon 4/4 stats, which is like just slightly worse than Savannah High main, which is interesting. I like completely didn't consider that. So now there's 2 really strong neutral legendary mechs with magnetic. Alright, I think this is a good card to start the stream off with. Little KT. Lil KT. It's the Lil, yeah. Okay. I had another idea for a kind of weird card. Probably epic. This one is gonna be Taunt, Death Rattle, give your minions immune this turn. This card is maybe a bad idea because taunt immune interaction is something to be avoided. Obviously, most players understand that taunt minion with immune can be bypassed, but that's something that not all players will understand. And I think generally this card is just pretty polarizing. If you have, like, it's gonna have to be costed at like 5 mana 2/5 or something. So like, if you don't have minions, it's a very worthless card. Give your minions stealth this turn or for a turn. I like stealth a lot better because now you can still do AoE and stuff like that, I guess. Yeah, it can still be cleared. And yeah, I think I like that suggestion. I mean, I guess it really shouldn't have taunt, actually, now that I think about it, right? Part of the advantage of it being the immune version is that it's useful to clear on your turn because you can trade. So if you cleared the immune version on your turn, your minions would have immune and you could trade. The stealth version doesn't have that advantage, obviously. So actually, it really should have taunt. mean, it really should be a rogue card too, now that I think about it. But then rogue having taunt is weird. I'm at a weird place with this card. I mean, putting taunt and stealth together is like just generally a weird idea. And the flavor, maybe something contagion. They're containing a disease or something. I don't know. This can go to rare probably. What's the plague called in Warcraft? Corrupted blood? No, the plague of undeath. Or the blight. Oh, blight contagion. Oh, that's good. And then make it, I guess, a Knights of the Frozen Throne card. Okay, I like the look of that a lot better. I mean, does Rogue have any taunt cards at all? Yeah, they have one. Wait. No, they have 0. I typed in taunt into search stone and it popped up with Runeforged Haunter. By comparison, Hunter, which is another class that doesn't really do taunts, has 3 taunt cards. Mage has 1. So, Hunter, Mage, and Rogue are the classes that really don't do taunts that much. I think I'm gonna break some rules and go ahead and print this card with taunt though, because I think it produces interesting gameplay. This is official Smite art by Devin Platts. Also, I guess the name Blight Contagion is kind of not really a not really a name that makes any sense. Now that I think about it, because contagion is the communication of disease, a disease spread by close contact. What is it called when you try to like lock down a disease again? Quarantine. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Yeah. Blight Quarantine. And then I haven't really thought about balance, so I feel like 5 mana 2/5 is reasonable, but I think also 4 mana could work. Also, I think maybe in order to like offset the fact that this is a rogue taunt card, we give it an aggressive stat line, so maybe a 4/3. Like I think if rogue is going to have a taunt, it should be aggressively statted so that it's kind of an anti-taunt in quotation marks, if that makes any sense. You agree? Okay. And then finally I'm going to put it as 5 mana just because I think this card requires playtesting, and I think 5 mana for 3 is... it should be definitely on like the bad side because it's a dangerous effect. Okay, cool. It's the return of Conceal, indeed. Okay, I had an idea for a neutral card. This card is nothing like revolutionary, but if you're holding a minion that costs 7 or more, give it +3/+3. Let me make it like a 3 mana 3/3. Probably a Rumble card, like Biggest Fan, something like that. And Rumble had some kind of neutral hand buffy themes going on, so I think this fits well there. Yeah. I think that wording was used on the War Mage card or whatever it was called. Sunreaver War Mage. If you're holding a spell that costs 5 or more, deal 4 damage. I think the name Biggest Fan can be, the text needs to be reworded. My like thoughts were that I think it's pretty clear that it would be random. I don't think that someone who has played Hearthstone would think that this would let you choose a card in your hand, because that's just something the game doesn't let you do. And I think that generally, like, you're not gonna be too upset if you can't choose. It's just gonna be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't realize you couldn't choose a card in your hand. That would be my thoughts on it. I suppose it could just be worded, give a random minion in your hand that costs 7 or more +4/+4. Also, I just decided to buff it right now, so that's why I decided to do that. Yeah, okay, I like this better. I guess it's more clear. It's a shorter text box also. So, fair enough. This is fine. I'm looking through Rastakhan Rumble arts to find one that finds most like biggest fan. Or a better name than biggest fan, but one that fits that flavor at least. Some of the Rastakhan's Rumble cards are like have really weird names. Like Slamma-Jamma. It's just so weird. Okay, this art is by Arthur Bazinet. It is from Rusticons Rumble. It's a bit like contradictory because this card has confetti around it, when ideally the contender itself would have confetti, not the biggest fan. But I don't want to reuse the shark fin fan art, so. Escort? It doesn't really fit with the art we've chosen, or the Rastacon's flavor, in my opinion. I mean, I guess in my mind, an escort would like reduce the cost of an expensive minion, whereas the big time fanatic is empowering it. And how's the balance on this card? It's actually pretty weak, right? I mean, it has some combo potential, so. Yeah, what about Instagram influencer? How about that? Okay, I regret saying that. Alright, guys, I'm ending the stream here. Just kidding. Some kind of promoter. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just gonna go with Big Time Fanatic, probably. Like merch promoter or something? I don't know. I think it's gonna like become hard to understand the flavor if you give it a more specific name like that. And I think the balance is fine, right? Because like hand buff cards are always a little bit worse than you think. And this has some combo potential. Not in like an awful way, but it definitely has some combo potential. Okay, cool. I'm going with this. Okay, I had a really weird idea for a card. I usually don't like the mechanic of using board space as a resource, but it seems to be something that the community thinks is an amazing idea. So it's basically a really boring minion. It's like a 5 mana 3/3 or something like that. It just has battle cry, summon 3/1/1 zombies. When they die, they go dormant. And they don't have a return clause like Shurizen. They just go dormant and they take up a spot on your board. This card in particular is probably bad. I probably need to change some of the numbers. But why? I think that, like, okay, this is ideally more powerful. So imagine like 4 mana or 3 mana. Just assume it is a strong card. Like, the deck that wants a lot of minions generally, like wants to buff them, wants to, like token decks basically, also need the board space. So this is either a like last ditch card, like one last board push, or it's a strong card for decks which know that they won't use all their minion space. And the reason that it's 3 zombies is 3 minion spots is not a lot, but also a lot. Actually, I think almost 4 zombies would be better. So, also, yeah, okay, so there's also some really weird niche interactions you could do. And after I make this card, I want to make a card which actually synergizes with the dormant effect. You think 4 feels like too much. Yeah, 3 minions is really not a lot. It really starts to become quite the drawback. Is this a bad idea to make it like a 4 mana 7/7 meme? So a 4 mana 4/4 that summons 3/1/1 zombies. I mean, it's actually really not that strong, because like, because there was that 3 mana 2/4 from Knights of the Frozen Throne, Grim Necromancer. That was, oh no, that was a 4 mana 2/4. Oh, that was a 4 mana 2/4. It's not a 3 mana 2/4. Okay, that was a pretty strong card. I think this is fair, right? Yeah, I don't want to intentionally make it a 4 mana 7/7 meme. But I almost want to avoid making it a 4 mana 7/7 just because I know that no one will take the card seriously. Is a 3 mana 3/3 like too much for the early game? Probably. And then I also do need to think of a better flavor for this card. I just chose zombies as some random token. I'm not sure what the best flavor for a card that goes dormant would be. I actually have a good idea. What about their candles? And this is like Candlemancer or Waxmancer. Because then it's like they get put out, and then you just have a pile of wax. I would then need to find art of an unlit candle, so maybe that's not the best. What does the Waxmancer art look like? Waxmancer Sturmy. Oh, he's got good art. Oh, actually, he's got like a hero power art that's like a wax doll, kinda. I feel like that almost works pretty well. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with the Waxmancer Sturmy flavor. This art is by Eric Braddock. It's from official Knights, not Knights, Kobolds and Catacombs expansion. Oh, I forgot to change his name. Waxminster Sturmy. Battlecry summon 3/1/1 candles. When they die, go dormant. They go dormant. Yeah, okay, I think that's good. I'll make the token cards too, because I think I have decent art for the tokens. This art is by Tatiana Vetrova. And I suppose this should be a elemental based on wax elemental, right? What should it be called? Candle, nice. I like flickering candle. Like, obviously tokens shouldn't have super complex names, but this just kind of encapsulates the fact that it goes out. And then, this is where it gets a bit weird. This is the art I'm going to use for the dormant token. This art is also by Eric Braddock. It obviously doesn't fit amazingly with the token, but I think it's the best we're going to get. Probably call this burnt out candle. Is there a better name for burnt out? I feel like I'm missing some obvious English word right now. Okay. Maybe wax cast or something like that. It's not an amazing name. Dried wax. I was thinking maybe hardened wax. Okay. Maybe we don't include this token. Oh, I forgot the death rattle goes dormant on the flickering candle. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm just gonna not make this token because it just looks dumb. I'm gonna be honest. But I forgot to like put death rattle goes dormant on the token because I'm an idiot. Okay. Oh, wait. What about flicker wick candle? Flicker wick. Is that a bad word? That sounds kind of... No, it's fine. Okay, flicker wick candle. There's also this art, which I'll go for because now I don't have the token, so it doesn't need to look exactly like the previous art. Okay, this is better. Oh my gosh, the emblem. I can't do anything right. Okay, hold on. I'm very picky. I forgot to change the emblem to be cancy. Give me one sec. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. Bossinator. Yeah, time zones. During the weekends, I stream at a bit different times, so if you want to join on the weekends, it'll probably be more convenient for you. Okay, finally. Flickering candle. See it. Let me just stitch these images together real quick, and then we'll continue with the cards. Okay, and so now I have like a minor synergy card to go with this. It's not intended to be like direct, like put this in the same deck. I just think it's an interesting way that you can kind of interact with dormant cards a little bit. It's not going to be something dumb like destroy a dormant minion. Okay, so we've had cards like Reliquary Seeker, which say if you control 6 other minions, but a perfectly valid effect is Battle Cry if your battlefield is full. Which just means you can't play any more minions. And so now you can play Waxmans or Sturmy and be like more easily have a full battlefield. So I don't know what this card should be because it can be literally any effect in the game, but fill your hand with random spells. That popped in my head for some reason. Maybe that's OP with Token Druid. Obviously not as a 1-mana 1/1. This is going to be like a 5-mana something, probably. Another like easy effect is to do just like give your minions +1/+1. Your next spell costs 0 this turn. Oh yeah, that's pretty interesting actually. That seems like pretty fair. Yeah, that actually seems really fair because that can go in a lot of directions. In a traditional token deck, that can just be used as like you play your buff card or whatever. But if you're playing this Waxmancer, Stormy, like less tokeny focused deck, now you can play like UI or something, or Pyroblast, or I don't know. I'm just thinking of 10 cost spells. That seems like a pretty adequate reward. I think this card can be 3 or 4 mana, maybe like a 4-mana 4/4. How is the Cabal legendary worded? What is that card even called? Inkmaster Solia. The next spell you cast this turn costs 0. Let's even get Battlefield in the first line. Oh, that's a nice text box. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna put this in Cobalt as well. Like, yeah, when the text box just right. Like, obviously this like kind of goes hand in hand with the previous card we made, which just happens to be Cobalt's card. But I think this is very thematic to Cobalt neutrals, because you have Arcane Tyrant, which is a cost 0 if you've cast an expensive spell. You have Corridor Creeper, which is an epic that reduces cost. You have Spiteful Summoner, which is big spell synergy. You have Grand Archivist, which is big spell synergy. There's a lot of big spell synergy. You hate that I made Yeti Claws. I apologize. You're probably going to hate that I made Koldar as well. And Time Walker Warden. That's the holy trinity of dumb cards we've made on stream. Okay, now we just make this a Kobold, I guess. I mean, actually, like, none of the neutral epics from KNC were Kobolds. Oh, no, Grand Archivist was, but... I think making it a Kobold is fine. Delete. Get to use the Grandpa Kobold art. Oh, it doesn't like this, I guess. Okay, I think I'm done dropping frames. Yeah, stream's been a bit laggy. You think it's really strong? Where does Kobolds and Catacombs take place? In some random cave. Where are Kobolds from in Warcraft? Where's their racial capital or whatever? Homeworld Azeroth. Areas Kalimdor, Broken Isles. High Mountain? So maybe High Mountain Ancient. Ancient. You hate Koldara Drake too? Or Koldara Guard or whatever we called it. Dweller. I want to make this guy like a teacher, basically. Pedagogue. That's apparently a synonym for teacher. Or like intellect or something like that. What's a synonym for intellect? Like, not intellect as in the trait, but someone who isn't intellect. What if we called it Arcane Intellectual? That's so dumb, right? Because it doesn't draw cards. I mean, we could change the effect to draw 2 cards, but that's less interesting. Is this name dumb on this minion? Someone tell me. Okay, you're gonna stop me on this one? What is the synonym for well-read? Like someone who reads a lot. Educated, literate, studious, well-informed. Ancestral cavern dweller. That's a mouthful. I kind of like ancestral though. That gets the point across. Ancestral scholar. What about that? That's probably good enough, right? So the idea is that he's like some old guy that knows a bunch of spells, but he's so old that he needs the help of everyone around him to cast the spells. Okay, I'm gonna call this one done. And this is art by Konstantin Turovec. Oh, why is it rare? I didn't mean for it to be rare. Okay, hold on, we have to remake it. It's a running theme. Candlebender. Does that make any sense? Yeah. Everything is glitching out. Oh, the rare hearth cards. I think I might have. Oh wait, I did this wrong. I mean, the candle stuff was my fault. The previous candle stuff. Hearthstone. I almost want to call it Retired Scholar. I feel like it conveys the flavor a bit better. It's already a card from TGT. Oh, the name. Right. I'm surprised no one brought that up. Wasn't it the spell damage card? Oh, you are right. You are right, Master of Ceremonies. Okay. I'll leave a note to myself to change that. Okay, I'll go with the candle pun. Retired candle master. Okay, I'm calling this one done. Let me quickly make a note to myself to change this. I've seen The Last Airbender. I don't think Candlebender makes... Well, I mean, I guess it's fine. It's really not that bad, but it's just kind of... I don't know. Okay, let's see what we got for other cards. Okay, this is probably really overdone. But shaman card called like Forbidden Mutation. Spend all your mana. Transform a friendly minion into one that costs that much more. Like, this has been done before, right? Probably. It's pretty balanced though, right? It's not like ridiculous. It's fine. Okay. Cool. What's the one art of the there's like a rabbit Candlebender. Oh, take your Candlebender out of here. Just kidding. I think it's fine, Candlebender. I don't know. Went for a more vanilla name. What's the art of the I think it's from the Rise of Shadows expansion. It's like a rabbit that's being transformed into some not rabbit thing. Does anyone have any idea what I'm talking about? Nope. Okay. I figured not. Oh, shoot. It's like, okay. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna try to find this art. I need to go based on like names of cards. Because the Hearthstone Wiki doesn't have the Rise of Shadows art in yet. But it's like this rabbit being evolved into a... Let me see if anyone in the Discord has it. I guess we can work on the name while we're waiting, because I think Forbidden Mutation is pretty bad. And isn't the new 0-mana twin spell called Mutation anyway? Also, this is going to be a Whispers of the Old Gods card, just because, like, both the Evolve as a mechanic and the Forbidden were in Whispers of the Old Gods, so this makes the most sense there. Oh, I found it. I found the art. Yes. Okay, sick. So this is official Hearthstone art. Did I forget to put minion? Transform a friendly. Yeah, you can target your hero, by the way. Okay, I found the art. It's pretty sick. Check it out. So I don't have an art source for this yet, but Forbidden Metamorphosis. Oh, that's such a long name. What about just like Forbidden Metamorph? Okay, that's still like so long. Okay, that was just being formatted incorrectly. Forbidden Metamorph. That's probably fine, right? The uncreative name, Forbidden Mutation. Any other second opinions? You can get a 7 drop on turn 4 with this. Okay, looks like we're going with mutation. Metamorph is kind of weird anyway. This is one of those carbs. What does that mean? Also, I think all the forbidden cards are epic, right? Except for forbidden words. Forbidden Flame is epic. Healing, Shaping. Oh, Ritual was rare. What the heck? What was Blizzard thinking? Okay, regardless, I think this is an epic card because... Shaman's Old God set had Evolve at rare and was Master of Evo rare. Master of Evo was rare. And this is definitely higher complexity. Okay, Forbidden Mutation. Okay, I have a weird idea. This is probably gonna be a hunter card. I'm not sure yet though. It's gonna be Battle Cry. If you aren't holding any minions, deal 2 damage to all other minions. So it combines the themes of Spell Hunter and like that text box is awful. Like Spell Hunter and Empty Hand Hunter basically. Oh shoot, less flexible, unstable evolution. Oh, you're completely right, actually. I totally forgot about that. Oh, what's up, Grand? I need to apologize for that. Shoot, is there any way to fix that card? Unstable, the Forbidden Mutation, then? Wow, okay. Hold on. Let's focus on trying to fix that card real quick. That much more, +1. Could also be transform that many random friendly minions into ones that cost 2 more. That's really awkward. Very, very awkward. Could also just change the card. So it's no longer, let's say it's an epic, it's no longer a forbidden card, but it still has the spend your mana clause, and then it's just evolution. Transform your friendly minions. or your minions, not your friendly minions, into ones that cost that much more, into random ones. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because like card is like totally a worse version of unstable Evo. This is probably fine, right? It uses the forbidden mechanic in like a completely different way. It can probably be 3 mana, honestly. Evolve was never like that good, and it was in standard at the same time that cards forbidden from being made. It was in standard at the same time as cards like Doppelganger, and so like cards like Doppelganger no longer exist. I'm assuming this card is going to be printed in Rise of Shadows now, basically. Almost say 2. The Death Knight was never very good, and that was 5 mana, Evolve 2, so... And now we can just call this Metamorphosis. Yeah, okay, I agree. And Evolve was often done on the same turn. So this is pretty polarizing, but more impactful. Okay. I'm going with 2. Super Bunny with lobster claws and tentacles. Alright, I'm glad that we fixed that card. Alright, it's off the screen. No longer need to look at it. Okay, so back to this Hunter card. If you aren't holding any minions, deal 2 damage to all of the minions. You just call it Lone Wolf. I don't know, I didn't really think about that. Originally this was going to be a neutral card, and it was going to be an Abomination spinoff. Actually, I think this can still be a neutral card. I mean, it feels forced. I didn't, like, force this card in the way that you think. I was trying to make an Abomination spin-off, basically, and I was like, what are some interesting conditions? And I just picked a random one. Cast Swipe twice. Okay, yeah, I don't really like this card, but I think we can work it into something better. Okay, so we'll just make it a Hunter card and do the if you aren't holding any minions. Isn't the condition also the Crystal Song Portal thing? I really am not like a huge fan of Crystal Song Portal as a card, but I'm not really a fan of Crystal Song Portal as a card, but like I keep coming back to it for design, so it must be a well-designed card. Actually, I don't like this. I don't like it as a minion because now it's just like Spell Hunter feels so dumb now. Because this is not like you can't put this in Spell Hunter. It could be a Druid card. I don't like pushing mechanics in that way though. I think Crystal Song is unique enough on its own. Doesn't really need like support or anything like that. I think I'm just gonna scrap it or go with a different type of hand condition. I mean, yeah, there's the like minionless Spell Hunter and the minion Spell Hunter. The Yasharj Barnes one, right? But I mean, either way, Spell Hunter is so notorious that like I feel like I'm either designing myself around Spell Hunter or like worrying that I'm overstepping its boundaries. It sounds like too easy to meet, Grand. Okay, going for a different card. I know, but I want to do more than make not broken cards. I want to make well-designed cards. Okay, just a common that adds a blast spell to your hand that deals 4 damage. That's a 4-mana spell. Doesn't say that it costs 4, but whatever. I wish this art cropped better. Yeah, they're like a technician or some kind of like gun wielder. Oh wow. This art is by Rodrigo Camilo, and it's very good. This one right here. Oh no, it doesn't crop that well. Is this okay, this crop? Probably not. Yeah, it is from Dota. I don't have an issue with that, but... There's also this art. Gilnean Border Chief. Like Blackwall Patrol. How about that? Make a Witchwood card. The Grand Abides. What does abide even mean? I'm gonna look up some art for for the what's it called, the blast shot real quick. I like fire as a name too, but it would look awkward in my opinion with the exclamation mark. Also, there's a hero power in Monster Hunt called Fire. I like fire. I like fire. Okay, you win. And I'm going to use the art from the fire hero power, probably, even though it has like a conflicting name. This art is by Arthur Gameldanov. Arthur Gameldanov. That's a. Are you saying good name to Arthur? Because I agree, it's a cool name. Okay, here's the fire art. I don't know how well it works on a spell. It doesn't really work well on a hero power, which is what it's used for. Okay, there's just like a gun art. I'll probably just use that. Yeah, there's a good art of a cannon firing. Because of all the warrior Darius Crowley stuff. I just have to find the best cannon art from Witchwood. There's a lot of pretty good cannon art. I wonder what the worst treasure card in all of Hearthstone's single player content is. Oh, actually, I think I'm gonna go with this art, which is by Jay Axer. It's official art. It's kind of cool. It doesn't like directly show the fire, but like Potion of Vitality. Is that the double your starting health one? Which is Caltrops. Whenever enemy minions play, deal 1 damage to it or something like that. Wow, that's really bad. There's a card that makes like enemy minions cost 2 more, right? That one's like way better. The Rune of Warding or whatever. Glyph of Warding, yeah. Okay. We're at 7 cards. I'll probably do one more card, and then we'll do review. The card design quantity is slowing down, but it's okay. I think no one will care if we take 45 days instead of 30. It's ridiculous to try to, like, strain myself to design 10 cards a day and then review, like, 10 cards a day, basically. Quality over quantity, indeed. 365 cards in 365 days. That's the challenge that they're doing. That is pretty easy. I did that last year. Kinda. Not intentionally, but I counted the amount of cards I made last year, and it was like 350, so pretty much 1 card a day. I've probably already surpassed the number of cards I've made this year compared to last year, which is surprising, because I'm playing Hearthstone a lot less. I'm generally more busy, I guess, so it's not really that surprising. Okay, I was like daydreaming at work. Oh, you got an idea? Feel free to post it. I was like daydreaming at work, and I don't know why, but this card popped up in my head. Okay, this is like 3 minutes probably. 5-minute healing spell for Druid. That's it, or like, is there more? It's fine if there's not. As a prompt. This is a card it's just called Ant Hill. Or honestly, just like a neutral Primal Fin Totem. You could just make it summon 2/2 ants instead of 1/1 Murlocs. That seems pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty hard to remove. Okay, wait, hold on. I'm gonna make this just be a 3-mana 0/3 that summons 2/2s, yeah. And it's gonna be a beehive. Oh, you have a better idea? Okay, feel free to share it. Oh, I have to actually find a beehive art. It's gonna be tough. Constrain, zoom really far in on this art. Oh, that's been done a million times before. Cauterize. Maybe. For right now, I'm just gonna call this card Honeypot because can't find a beehive art. Actually, I kind of want to call it like a grizzly stash or something. Because it's obviously being held by a grizzly bear. This art is by Devin Platts. I'm making so many token cards today. Neutral card with destroy minions and deal 1 damage to random enemy for each. Oh, that's really bad. That's really bad. I think if there's ever going to be a card printed which says like destroy your other minions, it's going to be in Warlock before neutral. Your mind is fried. I mean, I noticed that you were creating a self-sacrifice card for Hunter today. I don't think there's wrong with moving more self-sacrifice stuff into neutral or other classes. I think it just needs to be in the right expansion for it. Something like Knights of the Frozen Throne, basically, as far as flavor goes. Trying to find art. Okay, I found a good art. Look at this funny art. But I'll just zoom in on the bee probably. Does this bee like missing a face? Or I guess it's facing the other way. Or no, it just like looks kind of funny. Almost got banned there for a second. What? What do you mean? Oh. Where did I zoom in? To the bee butt? Gotcha. Okay. Token cards should probably be pretty simply named, so I think Angered Bee is probably fine. My mind is fried too, Grand, don't worry. This art is by Victoria Balbus. Okay, we can probably just make 1 or 2 more cards, because I'm at 8 now, so I might as well just finish it off. Okay, so 5-mana healing spell for Druid. Prior to Rise of Shadows, this would have been a pretty easy prompt. But now that Healing Druid is like a thing, you need to give it some care about what a healing card should look like at 5 mana. Choose one card for Druid, but the options either restore X health to the enemy hero or the opponent draws 2 cards. Yeah, I guess that's doable. Downsided, like an overstated downside minion basically is probably the best way to do that. I think that considering Druid has symmetry as a very minor, like, micro sub-theme, it feels weird going from, like, sharing to straight up just giving the opponent. I mean, I guess there is stuff like Naturalize. Okay, I have an idea for a 5-mana Druid spell. Or it's not going to be 5 mana, it's going to be 3 mana. Mulch, yeah. That Grove Tender was my, like, immediate concern, or, like, what I was thinking of at least. Okay. This is maybe dumb, but it's choose one. Restore 10 health to your hero or to all friendly minions. Or, sorry, it should be or your minions. This could be a common. I don't think Healing Touch is. We'll make it, I guess, 9 for... just to not spit on Healing Touch too much. This art is by Ember's Art. It's very good. There's no card that references Grove Tending, right? Oh, Grove Tender, shoot. We were just talking about this. Okay, ignore me. Nurturing. Bruh. Look, we were just talking about Grove Tending. I totally forgot about it. Okay, Balanced Druid has Solar Beam, Ysera's Gift, Life Bloom, Gentle Care, Living Seed, Prosperity, Abundance, Photosynthesis. I want to say Grove because like he's very obviously like in a grove. Focused Growth, Overgrowth, Deep Roots, Vim and Vigor. Prosperity. Yeah, I think an effect like this should have a soft name. I kind of want to go for like a Nourish synonym. What about Cultivate? Or Sustenance, Prosperity, Surplus, Revitalize. Welcome, Banter. What about Harvest, Surplus? Photosynthesize. I feel like Photosynthesize they're waiting to use on some really impactful card. Miracle Grow. Kind of like that, Miracle Grow. The Pokemon move that restores health in sunny weather. Pokemon move that restores health in sunny weather. I'm googling this. Weather. Wait. Harsh sunlight. Gosh, I have no idea. Sunny day. Okay, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go with Miracle Grow. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. Miraculous Growth. Sorry, I already hit create. Okay, so we're at 9 cards, so we might as well just make it 10. Look at this art. I think Miraculous Growth is a bit wordy for that common. Miracle Grow is nice and simple. I've got it. No, not Rogue. Where's Shaman? Battle Cry. Summon a 1/1 Bro Lock. This actually doesn't make sense because the art depicts 2. And the... Oops, I just bumped my keyboard. The art depicts 2, so like how would the art work? How about... I've designed this before, so I'm straight up stealing this design from myself. So I'm going to 1/1 Murloc and add 1 to your hand. And the 1 in your hand comes, or costs 1 mana. I've designed this before, but this is like... I almost considered submitting this card to Blizzard when I applied. It was a rogue card. It wasn't Murloc's, but like... I think the rogue version is definitely a bit more well designed, but I almost considered submitting it to Blizzard. So like... It's up there for like one of my favorite designs that I've made, and I think... it works better in Rogue. But the card got like no attention when I posted on Reddit, which is fine because the Rogue card was the same exact as this one, Banter. It was just not Murloc. It was called Break-In Burglary or Tag Team or something like that. Here, I'll show you after I make this card, but before I do the review, because it when I was making the card, I found so many cool arts that I made 2 versions of it. So I can show you both versions. It's kind of cool. Tag Team Tide Hunters. I think this card name is going to take us a couple seconds, but we're going to get a really good card name. What about Fish and Chips? That's really dumb, right? This art is by Marcelo Rasdra, spelled Rhasdra. A card in your set has 4 different artworks are also good. Yeah. Also, I didn't know you're making a set, Benter. Benter, I never saw you that active in the community until recently, but I looked through your Reddit account, and you have a lot of cool cards. I never realized. Westfall's Finest. Is that the name of the set? Also, is Fish and Chips too dumb of a name? It's half dumb. Okay, well, we're looking for full dumb, so this won't cut it. You really like Fish and Chips. They do have silly names. Obviously, like the chips part, it doesn't make any sense, but... Oh, that's cool, Dario. Yeah, I like live streaming card design. It's really fun. Oh, what about plenty of fish? Surf and turf. I like that one too. I think I'm gonna go with plenty of fish. The left one is surf. I wish I could zoom out a bit more. Content aware scale it to show off more of this amazing artwork. Also wait, I think I'm gonna try to remove the font size and make it 3 lines. Yeah, that's a lot better. That is the vanilla 3-mana 4/4 dragon. Oh wow, I just realized something. We made a 3-mana version of this card that adds a 3/3 and summons a 3/3. Is there any other better class to put this in besides Shaman? It's really just Shaman and Paladin that have Murlocs, right? Druid doesn't really have any Murlocs. The Rogue doesn't have any Murlocs. Warlock has like 1 Murloc. Yeah, I want to keep Murloc because the art's nice. I guess we'll keep it in Shaman. Okay, well, the other card that we designed with this effect in Shaman is a lot worse than this one. It's a 3-mana 3/3. It's the same thing. It's 3 mana and it summons a 3/3 and adds 1 to your hand. And I'm gonna rip that card apart when we get to it today because we'll probably get to it today. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Classic swirl. I'm done making this card. Okay. Didn't I make that a while ago? Plenty of fish? Yeah, we were just talking about that. Let me find that really quick, actually. Oh yeah, the 3/3, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, I found the card. Give me 1 sec. We were talking about this in the Discord today, Dario. It severely confuses me that they used Twin Spell as the name for like one of their most flexible keywords that has the most design space, can be put on like virtually any card. Minion, spell, weapon. It's very clear that it works, and they named it with spell like in the name. It just makes me so frustrated. It's such a cool keyword. It like works anywhere. They should have like 100% just like evergreened it, in my opinion. It doesn't need to appear as frequently as stuff like Rush and Discover do, but like just call it something better than Twin Spell, and then it can appear on anything. I get the dollar on flavor, and they could have just introduced it only on spells at first, but like it's called Twin Spell. You just can't put that on a minion. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'll show you real quick my, okay, this was the card. So this is from like a year and a half ago. I posted on Reddit a year ago, but I designed it like a year and a half ago. Tag Team Heist. Summon a 1/1 crook and add 1 to your hand. And of course there's fantastic artwork. And they're so, like, there was so much good artwork that, hold on, I also made this version, which is also called Tag Team Heist. The second token is called Getaway Driver, and yeah, I don't know which art I like better, but there's just two fantastic arts for this. I think this one is a bit better designed than the Murloc one, but I don't want to like completely redesign a card I've already made. That just defeats the point of the design. So like I'm gonna really quickly go through the cards we made today for sake of tradition, and then we'll start. Yeah, the Jade one is a bit more flavorful. Yeah, because this is kind of like Goon's art. We'll really quickly go through the cards we made, and then we'll start reviewing cards because the stream is not over yet. All right, so we started off with Lil KT. Replace death rattles on minions you control with resummon this. So it's a cool death rattle support card that like doesn't give you immediate benefit with your death rattles, but it's a lot of value. Blight Quarantine is a rogue taunt card, which is weird. We decided to make it aggressively statted to like have it make more sense as a rogue taunt card, and it has this cool stealth interaction where it like protects your minions further by stealthing them, and the flavors that you're trying to hide from the plague. Big Time Fanatic is kind of a pack filler. Has combo support. I think it works well with the Rumble themes, both flavorfully and mechanically. There was some hand buff in there, and the name is like, this is like the biggest fan basically of some fighter. Waxmancer Sturmy is an attempt to create a board space interaction card, which people seem to like. I'm not a huge fan. I think this card executes it well enough. It's a high tempo card that severely limits the amount of minions you can play. 4 minions is maybe not a problem for most decks, but like you probably wouldn't want to run this in every single deck. If so, then you could up it to 4 and make it a 3-mana 2/2. Not too concerned about that. And then we kind of wanted to create a synergy card. I didn't do it. I didn't want to do it directly by like saying like destroy dormant minion or something like that, because I think that would be dumb. So this is what we came up with. It's a Reliquary Secret Effect, except instead of saying if you control 6 other minions, it says if your battlefield is full. So it actually works with dormant minions. So yeah, that's Retired Candlemaster. Metamorphosis, not Forbidden Mutation. This card was previously like Forbidden Mutation, spend all your mana, transform a minion into one that costs that much more, but it's literally just a worse unstable Evo. Like, completely forgot about that card. So this is Metamorphosis. It uses the spend all your mana mechanic, even though it's not a forbidden card. And it definitely like feels a bit weird because of that, especially being in Rise of Shadows where they like reintroduce the forbidden mechanic. But regardless, it's basically just an evolve that can get a lot bigger, which is probably like at high mana cost it's really good. But they already have Shaman already has Bloodlust. They already have, you know, like ways to abuse a big board. So I don't think this is too egregious. Blackwall Patrol is a pack filler. 4 mana 4/4 death rattle, add a fire to your spell to your hand that deals 4 damage, and it's 4 mana deal 4 damage. The flavor is that it's he's guarding the border between Gilneas and Witchwood. Grizzly Stash is a neutral totem-ish card. It's kind of based around Primal Flynn Totem, but summons a 2/2 and it costs 1 more. I really like Primal Flynn Totem. I think it produces pretty interesting gameplay. Do you want to kill the 1/1 over the 0/3? Can you afford to kill the 0/3? So this is just a different variation of it. I think that this card might be a bit strong, and that it should maybe have 2 health, and I think that's fine if it has 2 health. Miracle Grow is just like Gran said, design a 5-cost Druid spell that heals, so I ignored him and designed a 3-cost Druid spell that heals. It's basically just a different Divine Hymn. Yeah, I don't know. Not much to say about it. Just exists. It's better. It's a power creep on Healing Touch slightly, but whatever. Plenty of Fish is a redesign of a card I've already made, but the art was really good. So, yeah, I think everyone who is currently watching the stream just heard me talk about this, so I can probably avoid talking about this one a lot. All right, so that's the cards we made today. So give me a second, and I will pull up. What do you mean, think about your design? It's not a design, it was just your suggestion for a prompt. Okay, I hope this doesn't, like, show sensitive information. I don't think it will. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. We're in here. Alright. So it says there's 5 people watching. I don't know if that's accurate, but I know for a fact that Grand, you probably have not seen my rating system. And there's probably at least like one other lurker who hasn't seen my rating system. So I'm going to really quickly go through it because it's weird. So this spreadsheet just collects all the cards I'm making. I'm rating them to basically learn more about design and just to as an experience. You're not a lurker, obviously. And nothing wrong with lurking either. But we're rating design on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. It's pretty self-explanatory. Like 1 is bad design, 5 is good design. Like really good design, perfect design. Balance is being rated on a 1 to 3 star scale. There's an option for 0 stars, which just means that a card is unbalanceable. And the balance rating is more to do with balanceability rather than the actual balance of the card. So a card which is pretty unbalanced but can be easily tweaked with playtesting is a 2-star card. Because I think that balance doesn't matter that much in custom cards because no one can evaluate cards perfectly, and like real designers play with cards to determine the balance. They don't just guess. So that's the reasoning behind the balance rating. And finally, the flavor rating is weird because 1-star rating is fine. It doesn't mean the card has bad flavor. It just means that the 1-star rating is just for cards for which the flavor matches the effect. Like Fireball. Fireball is a spell that deals 6 damage. It makes sense. That card doesn't get a 3-star for flavor. It doesn't do anything like interesting, but it doesn't need to. Like you don't need every card to have interesting flavor. A 2-star is for cards which are like have an intricate match between name and effect, and a 3-star card kind of like goes above and beyond by having like some socio-cultural connection or like a cliche or I don't know, some amazing connection between effect and name that's like really flavorful. So yeah, that's the rating scale. So we left off with Palm Plume or Diligent Archivist. Name a 3-star flavor card. Sleep with the Fishes and Doomsayer. Those are the first 2 that come to my head. That's what I used as examples yesterday. But I can also like compile more given the time. I have in the past. I just haven't used that flavor rating system in a while. So, okay, Neverset Grafter. 1 mana 1/2. Enchantments on this minion that increase health, increase attack instead. I'm gonna give it a 4-star. I don't like how clunky it is, but I think that it's a pretty neat card. It reminds me of Arcane Anomaly. This is a 1 mana 1/2 that I think players will want to play. Like I think immediately when a 1 mana 1/2 is revealed, most players are like, I don't want to play that. It's a crappy card. Blessing of Kings does give it 8 attack. Yeah, it's a scary card. But yeah, for balance, I'm gonna give it a 1 though because there's a chance this card just can't be balanced, and like there's a chance that the optimal balance for this card is making it like a 5 mana 4/4, which no one wants to play. I think in its current state, it's enticing, and that's why it's maybe an interesting concept. So I'm giving it a 1-star for balance. And for flavor, I'm giving it a 1 because the effect makes sense. He's grafting the health enchantments basically from his skin to his weapon. That was the idea. I think that's fine. I don't think it's winning any awards though. Likewise, Hush is also going to get a 1 star. That's zeros. Hold on. There we go. Okay, silence a minion or destroy it if it's already silenced. I'm gonna give it 3 mana because the direction that Silence Priest is going is towards 3 stars, not 3 mana. Oh my gosh, my brain. The direction that Silence Priest is heading is towards friendly minion silence, not enemy minion silence. There is like an added flexibility with this card, and that it can silence anything, but it's just 1 mana more than the default Priest silence card. So I don't think players will be excited by this card, and I don't think it produces interesting gameplay. It's a tool that probably doesn't need to exist. So 3 mana. As for balance, I'm going to give it a 3. I think it's perfectly balanced as is. In my opinion. and it can be balanced further if required. But I don't think this card is going to be printed. So if it is, I'll be kicking myself. Okay, Museum Forgery. 4 mana, discover a card from 3 different sets. Add 2 more cards from the same set to your hand. I'm gonna give it a 2-star for flavor and a 4-star for design and a 2-star for balance. Because for balance, most easy one to get out of the way. You could just nerf this to 5 mana if it's too strong. For design, the reasoning behind giving it 4 stars is the intra-set synergy that you will often get is like provides this like little mini meta game, similar to like Elise's pack. Sometimes you would get elementals that would play off each other, and you could plan out your turns in advance. Similarly, there's a good chance that you could get some intra-set synergies. It also produces pretty varied gameplay, so yeah, I think the biggest issue is implementation. This card would require a lot of development time to implement. It would break some rules of the game and have some hidden rules, so but I think this would excite players a lot. I think this card being revealed would like make people really interested, so that's what I'm giving it for. Feral Combat. 7 mana, give a minion +6/+6. Cost 1 less for each attack your hero has. This is kind of a spike card. You want to reduce this and just probably slam the enemy hero in the face. Like, you can get this down to pretty cheap if you really wanted to. I'm going to give it a 1-star for balance for that because, like, I mean, this is unrealistic, but if you, like, pounce, claw, how much attack is that? 8? So you could, like, this is a bad example, but you could, like, pounce, claw, or pounce, claw, coin, wisp, or just wisp, coin, something, and then Feral Combat for, like, a turn 1/7/7 plus, like, deal 7 damage to the enemy hero. That's, like, a really best case scenario, but, like, yeah. So I think this card is a bit tough to balance. And you don't want to make it bad when you don't have any attack. Flavor is a 1 because it just makes sense. I'm going to give the design a 4 because I think it accomplishes, like, a couple of Druids niche areas that haven't been explored in a while in a very enticing way. Like, Druid buffs have not been around. They were in the, like, classic set, but they haven't been visited in a while, nor has attack until recently. And so I think this is a cool blend of both. Imperative Operations. Summon a 1/1 imp for your opponent and 3 for yourself. For flavor, I'm gonna give it a 1. I think the imp pun doesn't really doesn't really bring it to the next level. Does it? I'll give it a 2. I think it's clever. It feels a bit weird being a symmetric card that's not a project, but it's not, like, fully symmetric, so it probably shouldn't be a project. For balance, I'll give it a 2. Actually, I'll give it a 3 because I think it's like as balanced as it can be. And I think it's well balanced at its current state. And that you can't really mess with it without ruining the card, but it's okay because it's well balanced. Design, either 3 or 4 stars. I think I'll give it 4 stars, actually. I think this is a pretty cool card. Like, I think it's very warlocky. It works well with, like, self-sacrifice. It works well with, like, summon effects like Knife Juggler. It's definitely, like, straight up just a zoo card. 1 mana summon 3 things is pretty enticing. Works with Darkest Hour, so yeah. Decorated Bladesmith. I'm almost considering giving this a 1 star or 2 star. Let me think about design. For flavor, I'll give it a 1 because it technically makes sense. For balance, Add a copy of your weapon to your hand. It keeps any enchantments. This card is really hard to evaluate. I'll give it a 2 because it's balanceable. Like, it doesn't really matter how balanced it is, but you could change it pretty easily. It doesn't have any glaring flaws. Gosh, this card is just really weird. I don't think this is a very warrior... Warrior does have weapon buffs, but it feels like more roguey. Just because of the fact that Kingsbane exists. Obviously, you wouldn't use this with Kingsbane, because I think it would mess up the buffs. Maybe I'm wrong. No, I think you probably would use this with Kingsbane, so it probably can't be rogue. But, yeah, I don't know how interesting this card is. I don't think we'll ever see play until Warrior gets like some insane weapons, and they really don't have that many weapon buffs now that I think about it. There's really only a couple. Yeah, I don't know who this card is going to excite if it was revealed. I don't think players are jumping on this card to Theorycraft, so I'm going to give it a... I'm going to give it a 1 star. I just don't think it's very fun. I'm going to give Dunmal Amnesiac a 2 for flavor. The Amnesiac references the fact that he doesn't remember who he's fighting for, and I think that's flavorful for an ogre. So I think that's like intricate enough to deserve a 2. For design, I think I'll give it a 3 star. It like doesn't feel very good to play this card because like you just use it and then your opponent uses it and then you use it and then it probably dies. The gameplay that this card produces is less interesting than the text would imply you to believe or lead you to believe. So I'm giving it a 3. And for balance, I'll give it a 2 because it's balanceable. Renewed Sowings. 4 mana, draw 2 cards. Transform any spells into empty mana crystals. Okay, this flavor is a 1. It works. It's fine. The design is probably going to be a 2 or 3. The effect is certainly interesting. I don't think it's that fun to play with, though. It doesn't really encourage deck building in a very interesting way. Like, do you put this with a lot of spells, or do you put this with not a lot of spells? It's unclear. When you want to ramp, just play a card that ramps you. When you want to draw, just play a card that draws you, like Nourish. It's trying to be a cheaper Nourish that, I don't know, doesn't let you choose, basically. And it's an epic because it's a complex effect. So I'm going to give this a 2. And for balance, I'll give it a 2 because you could probably balance it pretty easily. Okay, Void Terror might be the first 0-star balance card. I think it will be. I think this card is unbalanceable. I'm gonna give it a 3 for design because I think it's interesting and it's like kind of a spiky Warlock card. But the mana cost that this card has to be in order for it to be useful on enemy minions is like 2 or 1. The mana cost that this has to be in order to not be busted on friendly minions is like 4 or 5. That's a lot of mana difference. That's like a 4 or 5 mana difference. So the flexibility that the card implies is really never relevant because it has to be 4 mana in order for it not to be broken. That being said, I think it's a cool effect. It's literally Void Terror's effect as a spell that can target anything. And for that, I'm going to give it a 2-star flavor. Just because I think that the pun name with Void Terror is pretty funny. It's like both a mechanical and like name reference. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Void Terror. Curse Collector. 3 mana 4/3. Look at 3 cards from your opponent's deck. Choose one to put on top of their deck. Man, I can't remember why I liked this card more when we first designed it, but it doesn't seem that interesting to me now. I'll give it a 4-star. I think it's cool enough. It gives you some information. I'll go to 1-star for flavor too, because it makes sense. You theoretically put their worst draw on top of their deck. You look at some of their cards. You're not like destroying anything of theirs, so worst case scenario, they just like draw a bad card. I like how it can work in a variety of decks. It doesn't tell the player, put this in aggro or put this in control. And it can act as a tech card, but it can also just act as like just a strong card that you put in your deck. That's why I like it as 4. And for balance, I'm gonna give it a 3 because I think it's perfectly balanced. Okay, 4 mana 2/7. Battle cry, choose a hero, use your hero power on all of their minions. Alone says foul. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 2-star for flavor, because I think I don't know much about Alone's Foul, but based on this artwork and other artwork that I could find of him, this is very flavorful to his duality, both in the fact that you can target both heroes and the fact that you could use like shadow form basically. Design. So the idea is that you can shadow form, you can Auchenai, you can heal your own minions, you can Odd Priest heal your own minions, or you can't Odd Priest heal your own minions actually, because this is a 4-mana card. Wow, that was a missed opportunity to make this a 5-mana card. I'm kicking myself. Okay. I think I might modify this to make it an Odd Priest card. That being said, I'm going to give the design a 3. You can build around it. It's more interesting than it seems, though. Or it's less interesting than it seems. That's what I meant to say. The text box is more interesting than it seems. And as for balance, I'll give it a 2. I think it's like easily balanceable. There's no hero powers that break it completely, so. Raise fell. Deal 1 damage, draw a card for each damage dealt, take 1 damage for each card drawn. So, without spell damage, this is literally Shiv plus you take 1 damage, which is fine because it's Warlock. So it's just Shiv. With spell damage, this very quickly becomes weird because if you deal 1 additional damage, not only do you draw an additional card, but you take additional damage per cards drawn. So I think this is a cute text box, but just a dumb effect. Warlock has from time to time used spell damage, but gosh, I don't know if this card is worth it. Like with spell damage, like let's say spell damage +2, like you get a decent boost. That's 2 mana, deal 3 damage, draw 3 cards, take 9 damage. That's crazy. 9 damage is so much. And if you're playing a spell damage deck to get the benefit from this card, sometimes you're not going to be able to control. Like, let's say your opponent lets you stick 3 spell damage minions. You, like, cannot let this card... You basically can't play this card, because that would be 16 damage to your hero. Somebody gives us 2-star, 0-star, 0-star, and 1-star. I'll say that it's potentially workable. At its best, it could be 3 out of 5, 1 out of 3 for design and balance. There's a chance I will revisit this card in the future and make it better, but I'll give Plot Hole a 2 for flavor. The idea of like making a hole in your board by shuffling your minions into your deck while also referencing plot twist, I think that's pretty intricate. I like how it does some Warlock buff stuff, which is like a mini theme that they kind of have received. I'll give it a 4-star. It definitely feels really bad to play on your own board, which is kind of an issue. But it provides a challenge to players for how to use it and build around it. And for balance, I'll give it a 2 because I think it's really weak in its current state. But you could balance it by just upping the buff or reducing the cost of the card, which would lose some of its symmetry with plot twists. But gameplay should always be prioritized over cuteness. Ravaging Maglodite is a 4-mana 5/4 with Rush, Wind Fury, and Lifesteal. Battle cry. Lose a random keyword for each card in your hand. I think I'm going to give this a 5. I think this is really enticing to a lot of players. It can be used in both aggro, mid-range, control. Actually, not control. Sorry, that's a lie because it loses keywords for cards in your hand. But it's a potentially really strong card that has keywords that aggro doesn't care too much about, like Rush and Lifesteal. And it's a card which synergizes with Empty Hand without being binary. Sometimes it's really hard to get that one card out of your hand. Well, that's okay. You're just going to have 2 keywords then. For balance, I'll give it a 2 because it's easily balanceable in its current state. And for flavor, there was some consideration about this being like, so the artist for this card basically designed her own custom tribe, like race basically, and so we wanted to represent that in a Hearthstone card by giving it a made-up name of Maglodite, and then it acting kind of like a lone wolf in quotation marks. Like by losing keywords for cards in your hand, it wants to be alone, kind of like standalone. I don't think that flavor is connected very well. It's definitely a stretch, so it's a 1. Alright. Scorchy Opus. Each player draws a fatigue card. If yours deals more damage, deal it to the enemy hero instead. Sometimes I feel like Blizzard almost doesn't want to even mention fatigue because they know that it's something players dread. But the interesting thing about this card is that you could run it in a deck that only aims to fatigue yourself. And like Chef Nomi has shown, it's possible, in Mechathune of course, it's possible to draw your deck really quickly. And if you like draw your deck really quickly, get yourself to like 1 HP, your next fatigue card deals like 10 damage, then you can have like a 5-mana Pyroblast. That being said, it's pretty useless on its own. I mean, it's a 5-mana 6/4 that deals 1 damage to both heroes, basically. So I'm leaning between 3 and 4. I mean, Chef Nomi literally does nothing most of the time, and it has a viable deck in like 2 classes. And I would call that card like 5 stars in design, or 4 stars. So I think I'm going to reluctantly call this a 4-star card. As for balance, I'm going to say a 2 because I think the problem with fatigue is you often need a long game to get there. Yeah, that's what I was saying, DM Rawlings. By the way, welcome to the stream. But the interesting thing about Scorchy Opus is that you can circumvent that by just... And the whole point of the card really is to draw your entire deck quickly, similar to Nomi, and then even draw into your own fatigue. So it incentivizes you to take damage from your own fatigue cards and get your fatigue down to like 6 damage, 7 damage, 8 damage. And then you play Scorchy Opus as a finisher. And that's what I think is somewhat interesting. It's a fatigue card which directly rewards you for fatiguing quicker than your opponent. If anything were to be bringing this down from 4-star design to 3-star design, it would be that fatigue is like shouldn't be a mainstay of the game. And this card probably shouldn't be in standard at the same time as Nomi. But for flavor, I'm going to give it a 1. the name is kind of a meme because like we designed this card in reference to Scorp, so that's why it's got the name Scorchiopus. But whatever, it's just a sounds like a fiery dragon who breathes fire. So it's and then the flavor kind of matches the effect, so it's a 1. Outland Ringleader. Battlecry, add a 5/5 demon to both players' hands. Death Rattle, discard them. So I think I'm going to give this a 4-star. This produces pretty interesting gameplay. No flavor. So, Outland's Ringleader has very minor discard synergy, first off. I'm just going to get that out of the way. It has... it adds a card to your hand which you want to play that you normally wouldn't. It's a 5-mana 5/5 demon that does nothing. So like normally you have better cards in your deck than that, but it's you got it for free basically because you played a 3-mana 2/5. So there's that. It also puts the same kind of pressure on your opponent to play this card. It's not a pressure, more of just an incentive. I think one issue with the card is that it streamlines gameplay a bit, or rather that it won't be impactful enough. So like. Maybe a lot of times players will be like, well, I don't really care about the 5/5 demon. It's just a crappy 5-mana 5/5. I have better cards to be playing, and they just won't play it. Or maybe it'll be like everyone just wants to play the 5/5 demon, and so both players play it, and then they trade, and then it sums to 0. But I think it's a 0-sum card in a good way. So I'm gonna give it 4 stars for that. For balance, I'll give it 2 stars because I think it's balanceable. And for flavor, I'll give it 1 star because it makes sense. It's like a demon ringleader, basically. Okay. Admiral Hook Slash. Your hero power becomes equip a random weapon from your deck. So out of all the weapon synergy legendaries that we have, I think there's only a couple. I think there's only Kingsbane, Captain Greenskin, and the 2-mana 2/2 from Mean Streets of Gadgetan. That being said, I think I'm going to give Hook Slash 5 stars. I think that this is the type of effect that a player who would like to play pirate decks would immediately widen their eyes at and go, wow, that's really cool. Because you can pull some really big weapons out of your deck from this. You can use weapons in unconventional ways, like Gorehowl as a face weapon. And it puts a clock on your opponent, because you basically have a hero power that essentially will deal like 3 or 4 damage to the enemy hero each turn. I think it's a little bit design space limiting, but not too in a too bad way. I don't think Blizzard would have any plans to print weapons as big as like, gosh, I don't know, like 5/5 or 6/5 weapons that have a ton of damage attached to them. Either way, you're paying 6 mana basically. You're paying the cost for Admiral Hook Slash plus the hero power just to get that weapon out, and oftentimes that's looking to be like the cost of a big weapon itself. So it doesn't cheat you that much mana. Over time it does, but it's an aggro deck, so like it's kind of your last sustenance / burst. It's some sustained burn. For balance, I'll give it a 2 because I think it's balanceable. I don't think that this card is at risk of being too polarizing or too difficult to balance. I think if this card became strong and Blizzard wanted to nerf it, it would be as simple as changing the stats or mana. It's not a card like Patches, which was unbalanceable. Make it a spell. Like a spell that makes your hero power become... Part of the goal of this card was to make a card that works in a lot of different decks. Well, not a lot, but this could work in Rogue, Warrior, Hunter, or something like that. So that was part of my reasoning. A lot of weapons never get played, especially big weapons. It feels like sometimes the only weapons that get played are like 2 mana or 3 mana, so this encourages different cards to see play. And for flavor, it gets a 1 because it makes sense. Okay, Apologetic Bibliopod. What a weird card that we made. 5 mana 2/3. Battlecry summon this. Death Rattle resummon this. So it's a Dreadsteed. What does this encourage? Apologetic Bibliopod. Resummon. Apologetic Bibliopod is a name. Wait, Captain Hookslash? What are you talking about, Grath? But this card is like a Dreadsteed that is a weird resummony Dreadsteed. like you have to resummon it to get it, obviously. And then like part of something I really don't like about this card is that it encourages, like it fills your res pool with garbage. It wants you to resummon this, but then once you do it once, it's gonna fill your res pool with garbage, and then your other res cards are gonna be bad. So I'm gonna give it I think I'm gonna give it a 3-star. I'm gonna put in the comments that I really like this card. It's got like a DIY design kind of aspect to it, where it takes a second to understand what it does, and it's pretty hard to satisfy because like Dreadsteed was a 1/1, 4-mana 1/1. So for consideration, Dreadsteed, 4-mana 1/1. I don't know if you can see this because it's really small, but that was a bad card in a class that had a lot of access to self-sacrifice effects that it could act as an infinite target for. This is a 5-mana 2/3 Dreadsteed, in a class that has much better late game presence. It has, you know, lots of, maybe not in standard, but big Prism Wild, like they can access big stuff way earlier. That's way better. It's a 2/3 Dreadsteed, but you have to spend 5 mana for the card, and then like you're gonna have to spend, oh my gosh, I keep messing up my spreadsheet, but you're gonna have to spend another 4 or 5 mana probably for the res effect that you're gonna get. I mean, Res Priest has what? They have Mass Resurrection, they have Katrina Muerte. What else do they really have? I think the balance is really not a concern. I don't want to give it a 1 mana for balance because I think it's balanceable. I'm going to give it a 2 for balance. It might be not balanced in its current state. I honestly think it's too weak. But yeah. And then for flavor, I almost want to give it a 2, but I think most people will not get the flavor on this card. The idea is that he's a librarian, more sustain. They can survive long enough to allow this card to get value. Yeah, I think it's not that good. I think you could bump the stats, so that's why I'm giving it a 2 for balance, because you could easily change the stats and find a reasonable balance for this card. I think I'm going to give the flavor 1 because it's too hard to understand what we were going for. But the idea is that he's a librarian who silences himself because he is apologetic, and then bibliotheri or something like that means like a book freak, and then pod like references the fact that he's like a tentacle faceless. Yeah, it's pretty weird, but with like a couple tweaks it could make more sense, but I still don't think it would be a 2. Boris the Underminer. 9 mana 9/9. Death Rattle, recruit a minion. Give it this Death Rattle. If there are no minions, destroy your hero. So I'm gonna give this 5 stars. It's gonna get a 1 star for balance though. It kind of limits design space. I don't think there's really anything that broken with it, like maybe Astral Tiger. I mean, no, it's really not broken with Astral Tiger, because Astral Tiger it becomes a 4 mana 3/5 Dreadsteed, which, like, as we just said, Dreadsteeds are really not that strong, especially when it takes a really long time to get them. But I think that this card is potentially unbalanceable. I think destroy your hero effects should generally be avoided because it, like, alternate win cons are cool because it provides an alternate way for you to kill your opponent and do these crazy stuff, but, like, destroying your own hero, it always just feels like a really big drawback, and, like, it doesn't excite you to lose games, right? But given how powerful the effect is, I think it warrants this. And I think I'm going to give the flavor a 2 because it represents a creature which is so powerful that it overpowers your hero, basically. It's like this demonic kobold, so it's flavorful to KNC. And when he runs out of recruits, basically, his demonic underlings or whatever, he just destroys your hero as sacrifice. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, troubleshoot. 2 mana Hunter Secret. If no enemy minions attacked last turn, destroy a random enemy minion. So this card kind of has some weird interactions with other Hunter Secrets like Freezing Trap and Explosive Trap, because oftentimes you'll not want to attack into those secrets. Both Freezing and Explosive. But oftentimes you'll not want to attack into those secrets, and then that would proc this. I think that makes this both interesting and bad. You should never have a secret which, like... actually, never mind. Scratch what I said about it being bad. I think it's cool. I think it provides an interesting interaction. Your opponent can't just sit there anymore. They have to decide, is this going to be a troubleshoot or a freezing trap? Especially because, like, a lot of times with freezing trap, it'll be when there's only one minion, so the destroy a random minion is going to be more valuable. So I think I'm going to give this a 4-star card. It feels like a pretty cool direction to take Hunter Secrets, in my opinion. For balance, I'm going to give it a 3, tentatively, because you really can't balance it. Like, there's no numbers to change. I think it's balanced, perfectly balanced how it is, so that's why I'm giving it a 3. But if this card was unbalanceable, it would be a 1 instead of a 3, so... And in the end, it is really only 1 mana discount on Deadly Shot, of course, so... Okay, how many more of these are we going to do? We'll do one more. Okay, and Stay Dead. I think this gets a 2 for flavor because it has the socio-cultural kind of cliche. I think it gets a 2 for balance because it's easily balanceable. I think it gets a 3 or 2 for design. It doesn't feel like a very warrior flavor of removal. I mean, it's flavorful, but it doesn't mechanically feel like other warrior cards. It's kind of just a weird tech card. It's just an assassinate with a weird tech stipulation that will rarely come into play. And maybe not that rare, actually. You know, there's stuff like Snip Snap in Standard. There's a lot of minions that just Death Rattle, summon another minion. But in the end, it really is just like a tech card. So, it's not that interesting. So, that's why I'm giving it 3 stars. Soul Splitter Epitaph. Okay, for flavor, this is definitely just a 1. 3 mana 0/3, choose a minion, put a copy of it in your hand, deck, and battlefield. Okay, I'm giving this 2 stars. Feels overly complex. Priest does have some kind of cloney stuff, but this feels out of flavor for that cloney stuff. It's also a Death Rattle minion that you don't want to resummon, which is, like, maybe fine, but it's a Death Rattle which has a Battlecry stipulation attached, so it's, like, pretty useless to res. Not that every Priest card has to work with res, but it feels like it doesn't fit with some of the other Priest Death Rattles. It just generally doesn't work with any Priest themes, and it doesn't create too many new decks. I feel like this could be, like, a neutral legendary. I'm not really sure. The only interesting thing this card has going for it is the battlefield part, in my opinion. For balance, I'll give it a 2 because I think you could find an appropriate mana cost for this card. Auctioneer Trainee gets a 1 for flavor. 2 for balance. And a 3 for design. I think it's kind of cool. I think most players will, when trying to evaluate this card's balance, immediately look at the best case scenario and tell me this card is broken, when I really don't think this card is that broken. I think the biggest issue it has going for it is that it's just like a side shoot of Auctioneer. Like, you'd never run them in the same deck. I mean, I guess you could, but they fill the same exact purpose for the most part. And, like, the outcome is rarely different. You never go off on your Auctioneer turns if you're not going to draw a bunch of cards. You never go off on your Auctioneer Trainee turns unless you're going to draw a bunch of cards. Unless this would spawn some, like, really aggro Miracle deck that, like, would just curve this. But that doesn't really happen with Questing Adventure. At least it hasn't happened in a while. Rogue will generally just save it up and use it all at once. I don't think this is going to be run in any other decks, so... So it's getting 3-star. Okay, Thrift Robber. So I'm gonna give this a 5-star design, a 3-star balance, and as much as I want to give it a 3-star flavor, it really is only a 2. The effect and name match very well. Like, if all your mana is spent is analogous to if all your money is spent, and then he reduces the price of the card because he's a thrift shopper. It fits in KNC because he's robbing corpses essentially and getting all this sick loot. Doesn't really go much further than that. It's not like a perfect flavor card. But I think the design of this card is great. It's like a draw a card pack filler that like rewards you for not playing the card immediately, which is not necessarily rewards you, but it just produces varied gameplay. If you play this on turn 10, like, you're probably going to play it first so that you can draw the card and play the second card that you draw, like, for example, in Arena. But if you play this on turn 5, like, it doesn't feel bad. You have a reason to play this on turn 5 instead of a better 5 drop because you might be able to, the mana discount might be able to get you a better turn later. I think this is a very cool pack filler. Okay, I'll do Marathon and then we'll call it. So, Marathon is 1 mana, add Sprint to both players' hands. Whoever casts it first gets a coin. So I think this card gets a 2 for flavor. It just works very well. I think this card gets a 1 for balance because I think it's very hard to balance. And I think it gets a 4 for design. It's kind of like a mill/miracle card. It has like a metagame aspect to it, which Blizzard is not often put into the game, but players seem to enjoy. The worst part of it is that, like, in a mill deck, it's just 1 mana, add a dead card to your opponent's hand. Like, 1 mana permanently reduce their hand size by 1, because they'll never play the Sprint because it draws them 4 cards. Obviously mill is not a super great deck, but it's not super fun to play against. And I don't think it's too hard to cast this first because you have prep, so. Leaning towards 3, but I think I'll keep it as 4. Okay, so we reviewed, like, how many cards did we review today? Pretty much like 20. Okay. So yeah, reviewing cards takes, like, way less than making cards. Who would have guessed? Alright, let's see our most well-designed cards so far. And let's see our worst design cards so far. Only 1 star, a couple 2 stars though. Okay. How do I undo that sort? Okay, cool. Alright, well, I think the stream was pretty good today. We made some cool cards, reviewed some cards. If anyone is here and was not here yesterday, you can check out the info section of the spreadsheet linked in the description to learn more about how I'm rating cards. You can also just like at me on Discord if you have any questions or suggestions, of course. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and thanks for coming.